Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Bad Brad. Here we are. It's another early morning. The video's gonna look kind of grainy until that sun starts rising into that sky. Now, somebody yesterday on my the video I put out yesterday, which was about a Nashville exodus, he posted, "You're wasting your time. You only have a little time left. You're wasting the valuable time that you have, the little bit of time that you have left." Brother, I'm up at the crack of dawn every day, and I'm grinding on this channel. So you don't have any idea that I am not wasting a second. I am doing this before my family gets up, before, for the crack of dawn. And I am doing my work on this YouTube channel. And the rest of the day, I'm helping take care of my daughter and my family and doing what needs to be done to keep us going. So, thanks for that, but I'm not wasting time, bro. I know I don't have much time left. My wife seems to think I'm, guaranteed, another maybe 30 years. Man, I know there's no guarantees in life. Now, I did previously a video about Apocalypse Now and how that movie, the analogy of being a touring musician and the grind of that and, traveling downriver, gradually getting closer to insanity. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you check it out. But today, I've got another analogy for you. Another movie, another all-time great. And probably more people have seen this movie than maybe Apocalypse Now. The movie I'm talking about is Rocky, the first Rocky film. Being a musician, for me, has always been a Rocky story. There's been many times where, I've been called a bum. I've lived like a bum. I've had to live in crappy apartments like Rocky's apartment. I've been a club fighter most of my career, battling Spider Ricos. And that movie, to this day, there are parts in that film where it just about bring me to tears, if not full-on tears. The pain and the sorrow of a life struggling. And I know more and more musicians are going to struggle each day because of the economic realities that we're facing as a world, as a people, but as musicians, more so than a lot of people. And if you're true to your art and true to your craft, you're gonna probably struggle. And if you're stubborn, dog-headed like I was, it's gonna take a long time for you to get that shot. Now, like I said, talk about being a club fighter, playing in the clubs. There's that scene where Rocky is fighting in the club, in a little dump. And, at the end of the night, he's sitting backstage and he's got a beard on his head or ice on his head. And the other fighter's there saying, "Oh, you got lucky tonight, Rock." And after the guy had headbutted him, you got lucky. Well, Rocky got pissed off. And Rocky decided to kick his ass, right? And then the manager of the venue comes in and Well, you won tonight, Rock, so that's, $40 minus. And, that scene where, oh, you won, so you're going to get this much, but we're going to charge you for the towel. We're going to charge you for, ice. We're going to charge you for every little thing that we can charge you for. And when you're done, here's your pittance. And a lot of that feels like getting paid after a gig. Having to divide the money up. The club maybe paying your bar tab afterwards. Maybe and I used to never do this. I used to never order food on a gig. One, I don't believe in eating and trying to get up on stage and digest food while you're playing. Jeff Berlin once said, it's hard to play a sensitive ballad when you're burping up the pizza that you had for lunch. So think about that. Think about that next time you want to eat at pizza. If you're on a studio session and you're on break, or think about that if you're on a gig and it's time to play a sensitive ballad. Might want to think twice about what you have to eat. But yeah, being in the clubs, living in squalor. Now, when I talk about squalor, man, I'm talking about places that looked just as bad as Rocky's place. I lived in a place off of Murfreesboro Road one time, and I didn't even look at the place when I moved in. I had some money saved up, and I needed an apartment, and I think it was $350 a month, and it was the Castile Apartments across from the old. There was a bar there. I can't think of it. Silverados that would have all you can drink beer for $5 on Sunday. And so I lived at this Castile Apartments, and it was a dump. There were, things going on there. At one time, I was, probably sleeping the next day after a gig, and it's around noon, and I hear a knock at the door, and I go to the people, and I see a desperate-looking young man, with a crazed look in his eyes outside my door, and I'm thinking, I didn't answer, and I see him rear back, and he's going to kick the door open. So I know I'm bigger than him. So I put my shoulder into the door, and I get my demon voice. What is my demon voice? Motherfucker, I'm gonna kick your ass. And he kicks that door, and it doesn't move an inch. And I've unleashed the demon voice, and he takes off running. And I heard that he had tried to kick in a few other doors that day, and he was caught. But, living in a dump. I'll talk about L.A. Now, I lived in first a really dumpy apartment in Hollywood, and then moved into a better apartment, a year or so later. And then started working at the pawn shop. But eventually I ended up in the band house. Now that was a whole nother set of dump, having a band there, and the whole backyard had been the lead singer's junkyard. So anytime he would open a can of food and eat, some ravioli or whatever, he'd just throw the can into the backyard. And by the time I moved in, he'd been there a couple of years. So you can imagine they had to literally get one of those dumpsters and put it in the front yard just to clean out the backyard. And then after the band house changed hands within the family, the manager, the guy in the shiny suit and the Italian that that was managing the band and owned the house. Well, all of a sudden, his little brother comes over and goes, I'm buying the house. I've bought the house. The house is mine now. I don't know what prompted that, but it changed hands, and it changed hands quick. And he comes over, and he knocks on my door and says, I bought the house, and I got to raise the rent. And I think I was paying $250 at the time, right? This is out in Los Angeles, or maybe $200 a month. And I go, well, man, this room that I'm living in is not insulated. And the windows, I had those little like slat windows with the crank, you know, something you'd have in Florida. But in Florida, you would have another window beyond that, and then you'd have a screen. And these crank windows weren't sealed, so in the wintertime, man, it was just cold air. And, you know, California, Los Angeles can get cold. And I'd be in there, you know, freezing, and no amount of space heater would warm it up. And then in the summertime, I didn't have any AC. So I'd be in this sweat box just roasting, you know, like Paul Newman in a prison movie. You know, I'd be in there just sweating in my bed. And so I said, man, you know, you can't raise the rent. This is, you know, I'm freezing in the winter and I'm burning. He says, oh, okay, yeah, I see. All right, man. So he leaves. And the next thing he does is he says, well, everybody's got to get out. I've decided I'm gonna redo the house, and you guys all got to get out, and I'm gonna live in it. So he remodeled the house for himself, and I was out. So I had also at that time had a key to my girlfriend's house, and it was right down the road, and it had air conditioning, and it had its own bathroom, and it had creature comforts, and it was insulated, and it had a bed and everything. And I would occasionally, you know, I'd go over there. She was going to be, you know, down in, claimed she was taking classes and would be gone for a few days. I'd say, okay, I'll keep an eye on the apartment. So, you know, I get informed that I have to leave the band house. So I go over to the girlfriend's house, and she goes, well, Brad, I think we just need our own space. I think I needed my space. I go, oh, okay. I'm thinking to myself, great timing. So I said, okay. And I go, bye. You know, I didn't beg. I didn't go, oh, please. Well, can I stay here for, I don't even know if I told her that I had to get out of the shock house. But I just said, okay, fine, bye. Like, this is a breakup. You know, you instigated this. So, and I had remembered talking, some of my friends were living at this other guy's girlfriend's house. She had a house with a pool, and she was renting out rooms as like her income. She had bought this house, and so she's renting out rooms, and that was kind of like paying her bills. And I don't think she was working at the time. So she had told me she had this tool shed. Yeah, I know tiny houses are the huge thing now. People are buying tool sheds and, you know, tricking them out and living in them because everything is so unaffordable now. But this was about 1990. Nobody was living in tool sheds. But this lady or woman or girl, whatever you want to call her, had said, hey, if you ever need a place, I'll rent this out to you for $100 a month. So I'm out of the band house, girlfriend says, I want my space. And I know in the back of my head, this person had told me, $100 a month, you can live in this tool shed. So without any other options at the time, and not having, I was working, but I was working part-time at the hotel. I was working part-time. So, it's like I couldn't just get some luxury apartment and woohoo, here I am, even though I had a job. It wasn't full-time yet. So, okay, I'm moving in the tool shed, right? So I got rid of everything but the bare necessities and moved into a tool shed. It had no insulation once again, but it did have like some weird, like kind of window-mounted air conditioner that was kind of half-ass and didn't really work. I mean, when you got no insulation, the cool air is just gonna leave anyway. But I'm in there with the black widow spiders, and I set myself up in this tool shed, and I had a little miniature refrigerator. I had my 4-track, and I had this little twin bed that I could fit in there. And I took a guitar and I took a drum machine, and now this is my home. And the crazy thing is, probably a week later, the girlfriend, whatever reason she wanted her space, well, my quickness to go, okay, bye, must have done a screw job on her brain, because now I'm in this house with this pool. I'm in a tool shed, but I'm right next to a pool and like a hot tub, like kind of thing, a nice in-ground pool. And this is a nice house. I mean, I had a key to get in the back door to use the restroom and the shower. So essentially, I'm back in the game, right? Got a roof over my head. But all of a sudden, the girlfriend started she befriended the girl that owned the house. And she starts showing up in her bikini with all of her friends. And I just, for the longest time, I just go in my tool shed and I just ignore them. I mean, I'm a 20-year-old guy. You can't ignore that there's now 10 girls in bikinis swimming in this pool, one of them being your ex-girlfriend. So, I ignored that probably for a good 2 or 3 weeks before, eventually you end up back with the ex-girlfriend. But I stayed in that tool shed. I lived in that tool shed until it was time to get out. So that's just one little taste of how living for your art kind of feels like a Rocky movie. And I'm going to get into this even more at a later date, because I see this video's been going on a while, but getting my chance, getting my shot, getting my title shot, a chance to open for Keith Urban, Luke Bryan, and Florida Georgia Line, and the biggest names in the country music business, getting to go out there on those big stages and play in those arenas, and play in stadiums. I got the call at age 47. I felt like Rocky. I was gonna go out there and get my brains bashed in. My feet don't work no more. My legs don't work no more. My hands hurt. My body aches. Here we are, Rocky. Time to fight.